Greetings, people of the internet. My name's Rowan, and if you're wondering why I'm dressed like a wizard, it's because I am a wizard of writing and creativity. And I have just in fact published my first fantasy novel, the Meijadin Revelations, first in the Dawn of the Conquerors series. And this is the beautiful artwork done by Mr. Lee Matthews, whose claim to fame is working on the Hobbit movies and the Man of Steel movie. So that's the front and that's the back. Side, as you can see, it is a chunky boy, 556 pages, all killer, no filler, of course. And the purposes of this channel is to promote my work in a kind of grassroots fashion, see if I can get some organic viewings and drum up some general interest in the series. So going forward, this channel will have a couple of things on it. One is an audio narration by me, the first 5 chapters of the book, which is, I think, as many as are available in the preview section of the Kindle version of my book. And maybe some unrelated things to the book, maybe a more general discussion of things, because it's a little difficult to talk about the book endlessly without giving it away. And of course, no one's really read it yet, apart from friends and family, that sort of thing. So, I suppose I should begin by reading the blurb that I wrote for the back of the book, because it distills the essence of the story into its most succinct and attractive form. Okay, so this is the blurb from the back of the book. In secret study, Bertold Force has embarked upon the path of magic. His purpose, to master the esoteric profession of architect, with ambitions of conquest belied by his humble farming background. Bertold's venture into the wider world forces him to overcome poverty, break through isolation, and confront violence without remorse. When a turn of better fortune secures him an emergency mining contract, he is tasked with saving his imperial nation of Francovar from financial ruin by prospecting for gold in a dangerous wasteland, the Valley of the Dreaming Vulture. Bertold's journey pairs him with Second Lieutenant Ottokar von Falken, a down-to-earth, axe-wielding warrior and special forces soldier in the Francovarian Royal Military. The night of their meeting is marked by a shared vision in a dream from a seraphic entity whose symbolic augury heralds a fateful path that will take them beyond the limits of everything they know and could have ever imagined. A single word and the revelation of its meaning that will define their lives forevermore. What is this mysterious unknown of the Meijadin? So, referring back to the cover, you can see that there is quite a strong allusion as to those particular words and ideas in the blurb. So, I have a quick list here because I wrote down some things I should talk about. So before I talk about the book in perhaps just a little bit more detail, I suppose I should begin with how my writer's journey began for me, and I'll just summarise. So, like a lot of creative people, I never did well in school. I'm not well suited to academia or employment in general. I do better by myself and have been most productive in these last few years. I wrote this book back in 2023, from April to September, in pretty much one long unbroken chain of dedicated effort, writing thousands of words a day. And that was the combination of many years of research and practice. In a sense, I have always been a fan of role play, and it was through running a role play of my own that I really began to concretize my ideas and get comfortable with expressing myself sufficiently that I could do my work justice. A lot of people have difficulty with seeing their own work correctly in the positive sense. They think it's better than it is. For me, for many years, I would look at anything I wrote and thought, this is dog shit. I know I can do better, but why can't I produce the results? Well, I've always thought that writing is, generally speaking, an older person's profession, in this case an older man's profession. I'm 40 now, I was 38 when I wrote this book, and it really took me that long to get my shit together internally and arrange things such that I could just focus on what I was doing. But going back to the beginning, I'd always enjoyed writing at school. I didn't get to do very much of it because academia is not really about creativity. It's just sort of a novelty you get to do once in a while. But I remember when I was 15 years old and I did my GCSE creative writing project, which was, 1,500 words or something. And I wrote this story, which I think was quite heavily influenced by my first playthrough of Final Fantasy VII at the time. It was all kind of action and summons and magic and stuff. And just a few fight scenes, really. And I remember there's this guy who I was friends with in school who was pretty much good at everything he touched. I mean, he wasn't a genius, but he was good at art, music, languages, had a girlfriend, just had long hair, which I wanted at the time, but couldn't really have. So, yeah, I thought, he's got it going. But when he read my work, he said to his girlfriend, "Have you read this?" And that was the first time I think anyone really ever acknowledged, like, well, this is unexpected from this person who seems unassuming and ordinary. And that always stuck with me because he was someone I looked up to and thought, wow, he's got everything you could really want. He's cruising through life on easy mode. But he thinks this is really great. And I kind of held on to that nugget of praise and esteem across many years. I mean, it's been decades since that happened, but it's things like that always stick with you. Think, I know there's something here. I know if I just dig deep enough that I'll find it. And in a somewhat meta sense, relating to the prospecting for gold that my two protagonists go through in the book story, there's perhaps kind of a metaphorical allusion to that. Not consciously, but now that I think about it in retrospect, it's like I was digging for gold in a place that people were like, why are you wasting that time? Why wasting time digging there? There's nothing there. You just got to get a real job, that kind of thing. And that always worked out disastrously. I'm not suited for regular work. I'm one of those people who I need to be doing what I'm doing, which is good because I'm now doing it. And I'm very proud to say that this book has turned out, has exceeded my expectations, but the real test is whether you, the viewer, the market in general, whether it meets or exceeds your expectations. And so, where was it? I was talking about the past and how I got here. So it's been something like 23, 25 year journey to bring this book to fruition. And as they say, Rome wasn't built in a day, but I'm hoping that this will be the slow grassroots launch to my writing career, because money is something of a concern now. Man cannot live on bread alone, and while I'm going to pursue this path purely for its artistic merits, because I don't really have any other focus in life, nor do I really derive any other enjoyment. I'm not interested in travelling, not interested in material things. At 40 years old, you really start to think about what is my life and what will I leave behind. I have no family, no kids, no nothing, but I will leave an artistic legacy, however well it's received or however widely or narrowly it's recognised. And that's really what drives me. It's not just immediate feedback and putting pleasure out into the world, enjoyment, a world that's become very difficult to live in for many people. Writing this was an escape for me, but in a positive sense, not a kind of retreating and hiding away, just being a pot-smoking bum like I used to be, but something where I delved deep and actually created something that now has a physical form. This isn't just data on a PC or a server. So that's probably enough for an introduction about me. I guess I should say a few extra words about the book, mostly like what kind of themes one can expect, and an allusion to the contents. So if you like action, intrigue, Humour, that's a big one. I have got a dry, typically British sense of humour, so I managed to work that in, which is not easy, but when you figure it out, it makes writing pretty fun, and it's certainly fun from a reader's point of view, because humour is quite difficult to do in books. You have to really nail it, or it just can come across as a bit clunky. But yeah, I think there's some good humour in this. I certainly laughed while writing it, so that's always a good start. And some of the themes are camaraderie, isolation, making it in the world, and confronting violence, and that kind of hero's journey, stepping forth out of home, out of comfort zone, and having to deal with violence in the world, and the consequences of that, like the impact that having to do violence leaves on you. I'm a big fan of introspection, both in myself and in my characters. I really like the reader to see at all times, unless there's a specific reason why they shouldn't, what the protagonist, what the character is thinking, and have clear emotive expressions. I'm a big fan of theatrical villains as well. 3 villains by type in this book are an insane alchemist, a vengeful bandit leader, and a depraved necromancer. So quite a different ensemble of antagonists. And the way I write is also a bit like pro wrestling, in that it's very much an ongoing narrative, and in theory anyone can show up at any time. Obviously it is focused by the plot, but I sort of always have that mentality in mind that, not that it's like The Rock with a steel chair kind of intrusion, but that I'm very open to like mixing things up and having narratives play out across books, which is something of a novelty for me, because I'm not a terribly forward-thinking person, and to be able to defer gratification for myself and thus the reader across many books, that's something I'm quite proud of, because every conclusion has some new thread of a beginning in it and a continuation. And I don't want to talk about the successive books yet, but I have written its direct sequel that's ready to be edited and will be published in the first half of next year, and I'm currently writing the 3rd book in the series. So that's probably enough to be getting on with now for an introduction. I've waffled about me and some of the book's contents, so we'll see how this goes. With the intention of putting this up on YouTube, but I might do Rumble as well, and if I get desperate, TikTok. Throw enough shit at the wall, something might stick, and of course that is where eyeballs are these days. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that introduction, and if you're interested, check out my book. It's on Amazon by this name, by this title, by my name. Look me up, and hopefully enjoy.